Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the official NickWalshTV channel. We're live once again and we're playing Spinning Goes. We are still playing Spinning Goes. The grind continues. Let's take a look at how we've gotten on so far to this year. So, today is the 28th of May. And let's take stock of where we're at right now, guys. Nick Walsh is struggling. We're having a rough time right now, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We're getting wrecked this year. I think there's a lot of factors. I think we're playing against some really good players. I think some of those players are getting the best of us too. I actually think there's still even gaps in our game that we could still resolve. All of that's probably true. I'm strong enough to admit it. But also, we are in a very prolonged stretch of very troubled times. We are running okay in chips, so these spots in relation to our EV is not that far apart. We are slightly under EV now when we were slightly above. In fact, we were considerably above for some time. However, the chips that we are winning at EV are not in line with the level of play that we're playing right now. I've done a deep dive in this over the weekend. Whenever we're whenever we fall on hard times, I think the best thing to do is to fall back on your process. Go back, study, review, try and double check that what you're doing is reasonable. As a result of the fact that I did invest this year in the ultra super mega GTO wizard package, whatever, I'm trying to make the biggest use of that. I have mass uploaded all the hands that we've played this year to GTO wizard, and we are confirmed very, very solid. We're not playing perfectly by no stretch of the imagination. Are we going to accomplish that? In fact, nobody really accomplishes that. But I would say that what I've done is I've gone through and I've double checked our GTO score. For the most part, obviously, we are we're very in line with what GTO does. I have never been a believer that your uploaded hand should be 100% GTO. I think that's actually very bad, especially when you are hopefully playing in pools where you're playing against unknown players, where the exploits are where you're going to win more chips than your opponents. I then went ahead and I filtered for situations where I've made mistakes, situations where I've made blunders, situations where it was like a close call, whatever they're calling it. And all of it seems very reasonable. Very often we're making adjustments specifically for multipliers, or we're making adjustments for our opponents. A couple of just straight up blunders in there for sure. Some of the quote unquote blunders are like literally the difference between we shoved pocket sevens for 10 big blinds instead of raising it not all in, which they would consider a blunder because it's 0.04 big blinds difference or whatever, right? We're doing good, guys. We're playing well. We're definitely stuck in the doldrums. I know I've mentioned this before, but if we look at a breakdown from our showdown and non-showdown, I have never had a showdown line that is this shape. We are basically getting to showdown very frequently, whether that's all in or at showdown. Like, we're on the river, we make a bet and our opponent calls, or vice versa, and we're just not winning pots at showdown, basically. And when you go through an extended period like that, it's very hard to have a positive EV line. Having said that, our red line is actually doing much better this year. We have made a lot of changes. We've done a lot of work in our game, and I would say that what we've done is we've plugged a lot of the leaks that might have been costing us a little bit before when we were trending up, and now we're trending massively down in the all-in department. Sorry, the showdown department. And what we're going to do now is we are going to persevere. We're going to continue playing through. We're not going to go over. We're not going to go under. We're going to go straight through. And we're going to fire up a table in a second. We're going to play. If you guys are new here, we're playing $25 spinning goes. We're going to play 10,000 this year, and we are going to get there hell or high water. I'm telling you. Look at this determination, guys. Look at this determination. So with that in mind, let's just go ahead and fire it up. I'm hoping that we're going to get some good games today. The 25s have been particularly reg heavy. We play a lot of the same players, many of which will know us very well at this point. So absolutely no doubt in my mind, some of these guys have done some work on our game and how to exploit us. And I'm sure some of them are succeeding very, very, very successfully. Two players that I know very well, Printle, Nazgul. Not off to a good start in that department. In any case, hello everybody. Hello Tom, Raksha, and Ed. Thank you, Power Mods. I appreciate you guys. Zumbar, thank you once again for the sub. Shout out to Zintex as well. Yeah, we got to pray for the upswing. I mean, at this point, it's less to do with upswing and it's more to do with just like, let's like not river a set when they river a flush. Let's not keep shoving blind v blind into aces for 10 big blinds. It's getting a little bit hopeless at times. Let's shove sixes and get a fold once in a while, and definitely hold. All right, the downswing. Tony Worry says the great thing about poker, you don't need to play perfect. You just need to play better than your opponents. So yes, I completely agree with that statement, Tony. And actually, I'm a big believer in that. The problem is we're playing $25 spinning goes on PokerStars, and everyone's a reg, and they're all really good. So perfection is required on this occasion. I'm going to limp in here and try and play the pot against Nazgul in position. I don't think we're going to mess with the dry pot situation here. Not bad, not bad. Nazgul could have very easily done something there with the ace trade, but I think he knows that we're capable of trapping in that spot too, so that makes sense. Middle pair. Solander as well. Sorry, I missed you, buddy. Good afternoon. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. All right, little Nazgul, little Nazi. Young Nazi. We're going to call a raise on this river if we need to. Good luck. We had a plan. We had a plan, and we're going to trap him with the ace-9 of diamonds now. Okay. Call a river bet, obviously. He could actually bluff us here as well. That would be pretty cool. We did just snap off a bluff a moment ago, though, so maybe he's not in the mood for that today. And the trays should be a push. Now, these are the spots I'm referring to, you guys. We've had a lot of... We got him down to 6 big blinds. We're all in, and then he's got aces. You know, just 10s here. Jacks, queens, whatever. Again, it is what it is. That's poker. Like, there's no point crying over it. It's very frustrating. I definitely have felt frustration. But it's been quite a prolonged stretch of a lot of fairly decent poker, and then capped by standard jam, standard call, you're cooked, EV cooked. You don't win any EV this game, you know. So 7 tray. This is actually a reasonable hand to do some big raising with, but we are going to we're gonna be chill. We're gonna be chill. Ed K says, I was on a 30 bind downswing earlier this month, managed to pull it back. $5 pool is way different though. True, true. I mean, that's still something. I think at the moment we're about 100 binds down overall, which is, in this format, not really that scary. During the $10 challenge, we were 130 binds down at one point. Maybe it was more. Maybe it was 160. It was huge. We were having a really, really rough time for a minute, but we managed to pull that back as well. That was 5K games as well. So, you know, I am tempted to start bluffing this turn. Yeah, okay, let's just start with the 1 on the turn. And we'll you know, I think a deuce or a 7 can definitely start to think about folding those spots there, so it's nice. Queen deuce is a close one here. I actually can't remember this call. King queen, just to push here. I think we're at 7.7. We could probably still sneak in a trap against Nazgul specifically. Not that he's making mistakes, just because I know he's capable of pouncing on those limps aggressively. Where are we at here? I'm trying to find. Okay, and the king 5 push standard. Straight ace queen. Again, reg v reg, we're not going to miss this spot. This is a hand that's just going to print as a push. But this is where we're at right now. This is what we're doing at the moment. Queen 9, definitely easy push here too. Pocket 10s is a good hand, and we're about to upswing, so we're just going to hold the bad boy here. Oh my god. By the way, are you guys hearing any fan noise right now? It's really hot and bright right now, so I've got a fan running. I think the mic is like totally canceling it out. It actually has that feature built in. It was picking it up at first, but then suddenly all the levels went completely flat, and I was like, technologia? Technologia. Can't find this thing. Where are we at against? Okay, this is fine. There it is. Got it. That's probably the easy way to do it, Nick. I don't know why the search bar was so hard for me to find, apparently. Zintex, thank you very much for the sub. What the... Did I not get an alert? Did I miss it? Thank you, mates. It's very kind of you. We beat Nazgul, which is a rare occurrence here. Slender says, doing well, recovering from a burst appendicitis last week. Bro, holy shit, dude. Do not do that, please. I mean, do recover, but don't burst your appendix. Appendix. You have your appendix. We have 2 games. I know the guy on the left, but we don't have him labeled yet. Zidontmis is a complete unknown, and I'm feeling really good about it. I'm feeling really good about this spot, guys. $75 game. So I can't find anything today. What the hell? Where's my... There it is. Okay. Alterace, hello. Thank you for the good lucks. No fan is audible. That's really cool. I knew I spent £1 million on this mic for a reason. This is fantastic. It does a pretty good job in the reverby room as well. It's not particularly reverby when I hear it back. In the new office, I'm going to get some soundproofing though. It's going to be very, very zen, and the mic won't have to work so hard to digitize everything. So this is... I'm gonna choose violence here, guys. I'm gonna choose violence. This is a specific one I'm going to try because I rolled low. Thank you for the hype train, guys. Appreciate it. The mic is probably using AI to cancel it out. No, I mean, that's literally what it is, yeah. Again, I hate when people use the term AI just because there's like some technology. It's just the software, but yeah, it's doing something smart here for sure. Let's do one of these. And then we are going to absolutely blast off on this flop here. And if we have to get it in, I guess that's what we're doing. Now, here's the problem that I have now suddenly. This guy didn't just shove. He min clicks on 8, 9, 10. If this guy has Jack 8 or 8, 7, he's just going to rip, right? Extremely, extremely professional fold right here, guys. Extremely professional. Extremely professional. These are the moves that we're making. We are not going to allow the negative vibes to alter the way that we play the poker. We are going to play expert poker only. Slender says already did it. But I would argue that it is far from advisable experience. I'm really glad that you're okay, mate. That kind of shit scares me. My biggest fear about it is, I mean, obviously it can be very, very dangerous, but my biggest fear is I'm the kind of person when I get sick, I just go like, I don't want to mess with the doctor's time. I don't want to waste anyone's time. It's not worth it. Blah blah blah. I'm the kind of person who would like, I would start to get the signs of that, and I'd be like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then next thing you know, I'm in the back of a an ambulance getting cooked. Yeah, we're not going to gamble here. It's definitely getting close. There's a chance 8-7 is a gamble hand there when we get this shallow, but you know, whatever. I missed it, but focus on the game. All right, well, thank you, mate. I appreciate you. You know that. B Cancer, hello. Good to see you. Spin God has arrived. Hello, John Edwards. Yeah, when we flop top pair there, if the guy just like check jams, I think we just got to run it. It's fine. The limp call and then min raise off of 10 big blinds is not what we want, though. That's not good. I'm really hoping that our patience is going to pay dividends here in a moment when we wake up with a monster in the big blind. Okay, we got to walk. That's fine too. Slobs does filters because they cancel out the noise out completely free. Yeah, I think because it's built into the mic, it's just a little bit better overall. Well, we put the chips in good here. I do actually think we probably managed to avoid catastrophe for a moment, and then we avoid catastrophe for a second there, and then we do end up putting the chips in good. That was definitely comeback territory if our opponent isn't just like limp calling the universe. Because, you know, cool, good luck with that, bro. Just going to make a note on that last guy. Sure, we're going to play this hand. We're going to play it like this. All right, let's start with a small bet. We managed to spike an 8. All right, so under rep spots, I think we can get Zelzel to actually value bet a jack or a 9. He might also bet a misdraw. That's a shame. Does he just have a high card? Yeah, he has ace-5 off. That's fine. We're not going to get the ace-highs to call for the size that I wanted to use anyway, but it's good. It is rough. Glad you are also all right. Again, I did not need painkillers today, so that is really great. That's good, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. Abracadabra, indeed. Pocket tens, abracadabra. Okay. Okay, this is just the straight 5x ISO. I've played a bit with this guy so far. If we don't have him labeled yet, he's probably pretty good. Probably a decent player. Definitely can lead here. I'd say probably just 2 streets is fine. Let's do a little bit more. Let's do something like this. Now, interesting river, because a 6 or a tray will just check. We do have a couple combinations that might turn their hand into a bluff, unfortunately, so this is a tricky river, but yeah, fair enough. 6-4, honestly, should probably do some raising on that flop, to be honest. He might have missed a trick there. Probably will end up winning the pot there quite often with a raise, too, I think. But if he has the 5 of the tray, I think we get to shut on a fair amount. Plus, we can still hero call river some of the time. All right, we got a king and a tray. Let's go. Okay, we're going to limp here. If he shoves, we're going to call. If he does that, we can just flats. Try and keep some of the bluffs in. He'll probably stab like 1 and a bit bigs. I think we're not allowed to fold yet. Be interested how he reacts on the turn now, because he probably has a fair number of semi-bluff candidates, which is kind of annoying for us. Like the 8 of hearts, he can suddenly start jamming like, you know, Jack 10 of hearts and, you know, 10 tray with a 10 of hearts and stuff like that too. But we'll mark that one for review. I think that's an interesting one. I think we have to continue. The limp call is definitely appropriate though. Mark for review. We'll do some review at the end of today's stream as usual, guys. All right, comeback king here. Definitely calling a jam here. We're going to raise this hand. I think this actually starts falling into the category of min ISO. I think we're balancing this with like aces and stuff too. Jack 7, probably pretty close. We can definitely shove this one profitably. Might take that line against this guy specifically. It's going to be cuspy anyway, right? I'd say against this guy we probably call here, guys. I mean, it is Nash. I mean, it's like 1 pip within Nash anyway. This guy does seem to be pretty pushy at the shallower stack depths anyway. Yeah, if he's pushing queen 3 of spades here, we're doing fine with the call. With the call here, we lose almost no EV in the exchange here with the queen 3 of spades anyway. And let's just finish the game for $100, please. Not a bad start. Nice. The deuce on the river feels good. Okay, good game. Definitely some tricky spots in there for sure. That queen jack hand we'll review later on today. Queen jack of spades on review for sure. Another 100x, please. Or $100 game, not 100x. All right, let's play this one like this. Abracadabra. So I think a check on this board is pretty cool. Queen of clubs is an interesting card. Now, if the betting starts here, it's going to be interesting. Doesn't? Okay, cool. In that case, I think we can just check call river. This is a good spot for him to bluff, to be honest. I don't think he's going to pull it here, but he ends up having 7-4 of diamonds, which I think is fair. Interesting. We're not folding yet. Unknown player, by the way. Okay, the fact that he's checking the turn is pretty good because it means even if he has a queen, he might be afraid of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to bet 2 here for value against a 9 or a deuce or a draw. But this will also slow it down, right? If we check this turn and he realizes we don't have an ace, he's going to value bet the queen. So this is multi-purpose. Let's start there and see how we go. All right, this time let's take a flop. It's a pretty good flop. Comes out firing. I don't think we want to miss the raise here, especially against the unknown player. These team pros are always bluffing, right? Am I right? These team pros are always bluffing, am I right? Yeah, I guess shove now. Obviously still loads of hands that can call the jam here. The paired board is sometimes pretty good for us to get called as well. Good spot. Definitely played that one. Okay, we are here at 11, so let's play this one like this. We're not folding against this guy. I think this guy might even get an honorary yellow for now. Probationary reg. Not a whole lot we can do here. All right, we rolled really low here, guys, so we're going to do the thing that we're supposed to. 4.5 is fine. One of our rare large ISOs from the bottom of the range. This is another good example, guys. Like these are lines that we're balancing and we're playing them well generally. We don't get all these spots right all the time, but this is definitely the right category of hand to use at the correct frequency. And the number of hands in the last month or so, 2 months, however long it's been, the number of large ISOs from the bottom end of our range that are getting shit jammed on is like insane. And the number of like we're doing that with good stuff as well, obviously, right? The number of times we're playing our hands with those, we're just never getting any action, right? We're never running into that part. And it's like dumb. It's like actually dumb. Like people just should not have enough range there to do it at the frequency that we've seen. But we persevere. All right, I guess we're going for all of it. No action. Was a very nice turn though. Yeah, again, I mean, we have this guy marked as, you know, probably Nash. So I guess we're calling. Wish me luck. We should be actually more mindful of that note. We should include that note more frequently, I think. That's actually probably an even better indicator than It's probably an even better, like more accessible indicator than like opening up a heads up display or whatever, right? I think that once you see people actually involved with a reasonable number of like mass shoves, you should just kind of assume you can run those and like not feel bad about it later. Anyway, that was 2 very good games for us there. 2 nice multis as well. Has to be said. 2 reasonable multipliers. Now, we can definitely push A7 here. I think we're actually supposed to flat the A7 more often. Once we arrive on ace high, we're going to play possum here pretty hard. We kind of expect our opponent... We've actually played a fair amount with this player as well. We kind of have to assume our opponent's going to blast off on ace high boards. Once we see double paired, if they bet again, I think we'll ship. So just bet like 4, 5. That works. That's enough for us. I think we'll just push turn, hope for the best. I think this board is particularly dangerous because, you know, suddenly straight draws have flush draws that go with them and stuff like that as well. Our opponents should have quite a few bluffs on this turn as well, but a decent 10 might still call. King 10 might still call. Jacks can definitely call as well. I think this is very reasonable, by the way. I think this is probably going to be kind of textbook, just because I'm not supposed to have an ace there as often. Let's mark the ace-7 because if I remember correctly, it's the weakest aces that we're supposed to jam there. We're supposed to flat with our middling aces. Thanks, Printle. Yeah, this will be a push. Hey, Nettie, good afternoon. How you doing? I hope you're staying cool over there. I hope you're staying cool in this sun. Me and Ruthie we spent a lot of time on the beach. I think Saturday, Sunday, we were all day. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, like all day on the beach. Sunday, Monday. It was so hot. It was so hot. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. I don't know if I've posted it enough, but on my social media, this one's really close against Printle. I hate King Deuce though. We're gonna take it out. We will play this one though. So when me and Ruthie go to the beach, we have this sort of expandable wagon thing, like camping wagon situation. Fill it up to the brim with loads of supplies. I actually build like a little shelter on the beach. So we go down there with tent poles and like a tarpaulin and we build this little shelter, and then we got our own little station there for the whole day. It's great. It's actually so good. Managed to get 2 full days of that, but if we didn't have that, you would die on the beach. I'm surprised more people didn't literally die from exposure. Ace and a 9, baby. Go on, Prinzel. Give me one, buddy. Just give me one hand. Thank you. Thank you. Finally. This is the other spot I'm talking about, guys. Ace-9 shove, ace-deuce call. Standard. So standard. Nobody does anything wrong. Nobody does anything right. 2 players making reasonable decisions. The number of standard all-ins running into monsters or standard calls running into monsters we've endured is untenable. Unacceptable. Nettie says I got my fan going. I need to look at my phone actually, guys. Me and Ruthie bought like a very, very small English-sized AC unit. Like proper AC.
I paid $200 to live inside of that.
Oh yeah. Sorry, that was from Ruth. Because the other day our flat was like literally 30. It was okay, 28, 29 degrees, I think was the actual number. Beside the site says what SPF do you use? 100. I just stay out of the sun. The SPF I use is the tarp that we have The tarp that we're using, which I think is obviously UV reflective. King high for the win. Nice. So it is a 2x multi. You can fold the 8-7 suited there. There's quite a few suited hands we jam there. Small blind though. So Ruthie just lays in the sun all day long and she just goes brown. She uses SPF 50. I, on the other hand, am a sensitive boy. And I build a literal beach shelter that I hide under all day long. Some of them have been pretty good, to be fair. They are like, it's like a little palace. It's very cool. All right, Jack 9, let's take a flop. Okay, okay. Okay, we're gonna trap 10s here. Prince will give us some chips, please. It's our turn. It's our turn to have hands. 10s against a good player. I think we're gonna flat here. I could regret this the rest of my life, but we're about to play it like this. I could regret this hand forever and ever and never forget about it and live in sadness for the rest of my life, but we're gonna play it slow and hope for the best. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, we can't lose. It's impossible. It's impossible to lose, right? Oh, my fucking life. It's unreal. It's actually unreal. Yeah, we do successfully trap a hand that is... We do successfully trap a hand that is dominated. That was kind of the idea. We'll put the 10s in for review as well. Obviously, shoving the 10s there pre-flop is going to be very good as well. I do think against a good player, the idea is to keep the bluffs in, because you can do very well when they connect with pairs. For example, when they hit a pair of 9s. It's a good example. It's a really good example. The problem that we encounter there is when the board double pairs, Printle can shove that river and try and get us to fold like a lot of random high cards, because we're not really repping a queen or a 9 on the flop or the turn. And so the story kind of checks out, like, just give them all the money. Just give them all the chips. Let's just assume that I never have the best hand at showdown and just proceed from there. With that in mind, we should have just shoved the 10s pre-flop. With that in mind, we should have just shoved pre and just hope for the best, right? All right, so we got a king and a queen. We are going to play this as a jam in the 2x multi. We do need to play a bit faster in these multipliers, though. Tom is right. Playing slow in the 2x and 3x multis is definitely minus CV. We will call a river shove if we need to. Very good. That would be an interesting one to study from his perspective as well. I don't think you're supposed to bet flop bet turn here with the 7-9 suited. Let's mark that one for review as well. I'll try and remember that it's his hand and not ours, but I think our hand is pretty solid. Gut shot on the flop. I'd say this is a reasonable hand to have some leads on. Let's do this. And then potentially rep our hand on the river again. Principal might call with a high card here. I think this is fine though. Do expect to get called here a fair amount, or even raised with a 4. The biggest issue is that what I need to do, and I remind myself this now, I need to assume I never have the best hand at showdown ever, and proceed from there. So actually, in a way, playing my hand in that fashion was the best thing to do, because I could never have won at showdown. That's the issue that we encounter now, guys. This is where we live right now. This is the area of the range that we live in right now. Two live cards, no good. Yep, never the best hand at showdown. Cool, next game. 2 live cards, 60-40. 40% of the time we win, except it's not 40%. That's the problem. I want to also mark the 6-7 hand. I think is good. I mean, it's one of those spots as well where if we lead and we hit a 6 or a 7, we can get to showdown with the best hand often. I mean, not us, other people. Hit the 5 is obviously a good situation. And obviously we're gonna do some damage to some small pairs that check flop and also high cards that need to fold. My wife is my life. Great name. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. So I have a little Trapperino here. Hello, Stian. How you doing, buddy? All right. Hey, DNMC, how you doing, buddy? Are you back from holidays now, mate? All right, we're not going to stop trying, guys. We're going to keep trying. We are going to keep trying. Because we're not going to win a showdown, so we got to do something else. We got to try and do something alternative. We need the non-showdown to work for us because showdown is not a thing this year. Nettie's asking, is it June you're out in Vegas? Yeah, we go June, like end of June, basically. We're going to limp here. If he shoves, we're going to call the King 10. Otherwise, we're going to try and play this bad boy in position. Interesting run out. We can't have the best hand at showdown. It's impossible. So calling is out of the question. I must win. I must win. I must win. It's very fair. I honestly can't even be mad. It's actually completely fair. King 4 of hearts is a good call there. I would have made the same call. Just never the best hand at showdown. Never. Okay, new game. New game. Upswing starting again from now. Upswing starting again from now. Print tool. The official print tool. So, print tool's good enough to have this big raise. I think this is the line. This is actually a really, really bad board for us now. It's just a bad board. Like even the complete air. So the best part of the range beats us now, and actually the worst part of the range connects with this board. This is funny as hell. Let's mark this one for review. I think there's a chance that Queen Jack is supposed to be a jam versus Big ISO. That's why I'm concerned, but we'll mark that one up and we'll do some review there. Really interesting one there though, because it's an interesting. Oh sorry, what was that? What was that, sir? Ace 9 versus 9-10. No good. Okay, interesting. All right, so we'll mark up the Queen Jack for review. Reg v Reg, it's a very technical spot. I'm pretty sure Queen Jack is enough hand to call the big ISO. Perhaps not enough to jam though. It's going to be a close one though. A lot of our stronger medium strength hands are supposed to be all in versus the big ISO. That's actually a particularly funny board though, because all of this sort of merge stuff connects with that board more than I do with the queen jack. All of the air actually is like flopping 2-pair and shit there. All of the ace king, ace queen, all that stuff isn't folding to a jam, and is also part of that big ISO range. Okay, I guess we can fold this one. Okay, this is going to be a ISO like this. Straight into it. Okay, cool. Once again, ISO's no respect. And away we go, ace queen. This is very fair from the ace 10. I would say I wouldn't min raise ace 10. I would say that I wouldn't min raise ace 10 there, but getting it all in there is very fair. But here's the problem, guys. Here's the problem. When you go all in and your opponent calls, they do the first 3 cards, and that's called the flop. And then they do the other card, and that's the turn. And then they do the 5th card, and that's the river. And then there's this thing called showdown. And we don't... But we don't win at showdown, so... What are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Can we just... Can we play a version of this game without showdown? We could beat that. We could beat that. I mean, I better start bluffing my ass off because we are not winning a dime with 2 cards at the river. It's not a thing. Okay, technical poker now. Technical poker. Here we come. Super technical poker. Here we go. Here we go. Technical poker from Nick Walsh. You guys ready for this technical poker hand with pocket tens? Uh-oh, showdown's a problem. Showdown's a problem. Okay, upswing starting again from now. Here we go. 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 Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. Showdown insurance. That's what we need. Very good, Millionaire Mojo. That is what we should take. We need some show. We need this. We need the showdown. We need the showdown insurance. Here we go now. Queen high is problematic here. This is the biggest issue that I have though, because now I really want to convince my opponent to have a 10 or a 4, because I'm not going to win at showdown. So if I'm not going to win at showdown, the trick is never get to showdown. Never. Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now. What's up, Beck? Good to see you. Oh, we can't win a showdown. We're not gonna win a showdown. Fuck me, dude. Honestly. It's actually comedy, honestly. It's actual comedy. It is actually comedy. Pretty bad turn, but in some ways very good. In some ways very good. We can't fold. Shoving seems to make no sense because we have no fold equity, so we might as well call. The problem is we never make combo draws either. I'm willing to bet that we had something like 9, 10, 12, 15, 15 outs on the flop before the turn. I'm willing to bet that our opponent has ace king there very, very often. And we were value betting on the flop. That's how much equity we had. Oh, here we go now. 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 I cannot believe how bad we run. It's actually incredible. It's actually just it's impressive, honestly. Forget the Spin and Go championships, guys. When are we gonna do the Run Bad championship? I will be king. I will be king. Run Bad Poker Run Bad Championships. PRC for short. Welcome back to the PRC. Nicholas Walsh leads the pack as usual. This man is unstoppable. If there was an award for people who never made combo draws, I'd be top of the pack. Be leading the pack. Top of the ladder. Top of the ladder. Two pair on the river, huh? Have you upset the big man up there? You seem cursed at showdown. Here's another example of a hand that you're always going to shove in this spot, and you're always dominated because you never win. Okay, next game. That was a fun rant for a minute there. Let's play some more poker. Let's fire some more cards. Let's you know, Let's just keep doing the thing. Can you imagine missing a combo draw like that, guys? It's just actually sickening. Our equity on the flop must have been off the fucking charts. Like, actually off the charts. Tell you what, let's take a little pause after this game. I actually want to look at that Queen Jack hand. I'm gonna have to turn off stars though if we want to study. My brain can't move on. Yeah, we're never getting a jack to fold here. Done well not to lose more. And of course now we're into the next level as well. So we're immediately forced to play push folds. King 6, 100% call here, by the way. Okay, I will accept that. I will accept a tiny bit of run good. King of poker, find a call once in a while. No, he's waited till he has a better hand than me. Nice. Okay, 50 bucks, lovely. Right, let's take a look at the let's take a look at some of these hands. Let's take a little pause here. A little pause in the action. So I'm gonna close Poker Stars now, guys. I'm about to close Poker Stars completely. Poker Stars is now closed. Let's take a look at some of these hands for review really quick. All right, so this is the one I want to review. We'll just do the one for now. We're not going to completely derail the stream. So if you guys missed it, it was a limp. There's the raise, not all in. Queen Jack suited is a supreme hand to play in position. Part of the reason why we enjoy limping hands like Queen Jack suited pre-flop here is because it plays so well as a limp call. Once we arrive here, there's a couple things in play. Now, I might get the flop size wrong here, but in an ideal world, what we have in this situation is, you know, the best hand. Often what's going to end up happening is our opponents will have ace highs and king highs, some of which won't be able to continue. But we'd probably want them to continue because we have so much equity on this board and so many ways to improve. So with the idea that we're basically never going to get away from Queen Jack on this flop with 6 big blinds dead in the middle, I think a bet of something around 2 is really cool because you do start to put some like, you know, ace 7 of spades, ace 6 of clubs, those kinds of things that might ISO not all in here for this stack size. You kind of put them in the bin, which is really good because getting those hands to fold is really, really awesome when there's so much dead money in the middle. Also, having said that, if your opponent check raises, you know you can just get the chips in and you're happy, right? So when our opponent check calls here on this texture, I do anticipate they end up having a fair number of king high, ace high combos. Now, King of Poker is a very good player, probably a better spin and go player than I am, in fact. Almost definitely, I would say. Once we arrive here and they have a 5 big blind lead, the number of bluffs in this spot, I think, are almost, it's just not really a thing. It's, if your opponent was going to bluff, they have a great opportunity to bluff 10-3-4. And so at this point, you are in a load of trouble. However, when your opponent bets 5 into 10, you're calling 5 to win 20. So you need to have something like 25% equity in order to win the pot. Assuming our diamonds are live and the straight draws are live, that's 9 plus 8 cards, which is a lot of cards. There is a insane universe where a queen or a jack might be live here once in a while too. I'm not going to assume that any of those are live. Sorry, it's 9 plus 6 cards. 15 cards, so that gives us approximately 30% equity if we assume we always are going to win by hitting that card. So the price here alone is already enough for us to never fold, but the jam I think has very little value, therefore what are we supposed to do? Trick is to hit it on the river. Anyway, let's take a look at this hand for review here, because I'd like to see if there's anything else we can glean before we move on, so I can put this one to bed and we can play more poker, and we can feel good about ourselves. Okay, so on the flop, this is where I said there's probably some deviation, but everything else obviously tip top. Let's go ahead and start and see what it's probably a size issue on the flop. 100% call. So checking here is obviously viable. If you look at the actual EV here, the EV of betting 2 versus 1.5 versus 1 versus the check is literally 4.92. The issue, the reason why these are so close in expected value is because you cannot fuck this hand up. Once you arrive here, the only thing that you could do wrong is to fold. And that's obviously not going to happen, right? So all of these have value. I would say that this actually has more value in real life, because if you can get hands that are supposed to fold, supposed to call to fold, you do exceptionally well, right? So if you bet here and your opponent still has ace 5, for example, and they choose to fold that hand or something where they probably should always be calling for the 2 after that, there's that much money invested, that is going to exceed the computer's expectation of what you win, right? So if your opponent ends up with ace 5 of clubs and they just throw it away. Now, king of poker is a different story. I expect him to play very well, but whatever. So when the computer says it's a close spot or whatever the fuck it said a moment ago, obviously this is still a completely viable line, which is why the rest of it is all fine. Once we arrive here, I'd like to see exactly what is supposed to be leading for 5 here. And I think it will almost always end up being a king. Like a lot of the time, maybe some backdoor hearts that had high cards. Like what if your opponent has ace queen of hearts or something like that? I don't know. Let's take a look at what the actual lead is supposed to be for 5. So we're looking at the big blind reaction first here. So lead for 5, lead for 3 is a thing, lead for 4.5. Let's just assume it's a 4.5. That's close enough. That's fine. If we take a look at this, it's going to be aces. It's going to be kings. It's going to be king 9 off, king 8 off, king 7 off. It's going to be literally a turn set. That's funny. King queen off. So where do the bluffs come from here? It's just ace 5 of hearts. What did I say? Yeah, there you go. Ace 6 of hearts to a certain degree. Ace 8 of hearts. We pretty much nailed it here, guys. We're completely in the wheelhouse here. We've understood the assignment 100%. You know, theoretically, they're supposed to have some of these hands in there as well. Nobody is ever doing this, and it's such a small frequency anyway. You can see the actual depth of this is the frequency that this is happening, and this is so heavily weighted towards strength, and nobody ever finds any of these moves. So our head's in the right spot. And of course, the call ending is an important thing here. A lot of players would just see the combo draw and rip. It's actually significantly different to shove because you have no fold equity. I mean, theoretically, you're supposed to, but you never do. So the difference between 0.2 big blinds or whatever here is very significant. The trick is, hit your fucking draw. Dude, that's what you should do. Okay. With that in mind, let's turn everything off. And let's fire up stars again. Let's keep playing. So, we put that one to bed. We can actually unmark that hand. Basically, genius level poker, of course. Just without the result that you're looking for. Let's play some more cards. Hey, Mac, how's it going? Good to see you, dude. All right, guys, Mac is here. We can start winning. We can start winning now. Mac has arrived, guys. Poker stars. Hello. Please play. Okay, we might need an update. This thing keeps getting stuck. Oh, there it is, finally. Okay, cool. Okay, so obviously, guys, we're about to turn the client back on, so let's turn all the other fancy stuff off. We don't play poker while we're looking at any of that stuff anyway, because it's distracting. And let's go ahead and play some more cards. This time with fantastic results. 1, 2, 3, go. I mean, honestly, I have to say, King of Poker, like, very impressive player. Honestly, the guy plays so much poker, so much poker. Like, the volume is off the charts, and the consistency is unbelievable. Like, guy is, I swear I've never seen him make a mistake, like, ever. It's crazy. Definitely something to aspire to in the poker arena. Definitely something to aspire to in that arena there. I might bluff turn. No. We're going to try flop and we're going to give up. Nice. Nice hand. Mr. Swain wants to look at the Queen Jack hand as well. Yeah, we'll take a look at that in a sec, dude. This is kind of a special one. We could probably get away with pushing this one in this multiplier. Let's play a limp here. Let's start with a bet. Pretty bad turn. You win. Yeah, pair of threes with the spade blocker. Come on. You're going to win that pot, buddy. Probably could justify check raising this flop. Interesting turn. Lead turn is something. Lead turn looks like this, I think. If he's checking this board, probably catch some sixes and sevens some of the time here. Some 6-7. Just a little bit of 6-7. And I guess we want to maybe do like kind of an induced situation here. We can definitely call a river raise. Our opponents will have misdraws quite often, some crying calls with smaller pairs. We end up getting called by 6 tray. Nice. That works out well. Now, we have the janky part of our suited hands. That flop. All right, we have one of those hands, guys. We have one of these very, very, very special hands. This is completely the wrong size. Okay, that works. That's fine. We have one of those special, special hands there that we can play. Having top pair is nice. And on the river, again, probably a blocker bet candidate. We will call a raise on this river if we need to. Lovely. Guy's got Jack 9. That's very fair. It's very, very fair. We might have a big draw here. It's hard to know. It's very difficult to know how big of a draw we have. But if we get there, we have to be pretty sticky. Call a river bet here if we need to. Nice hand. Sir, how many diamonds in this deck, by the way, guys? How many diamonds in this deck, chat? Very nice. Nice hand, buddy. Mark that hand as well. I'd be surprised if that's not always a call. I appreciate a flush with the 7 of diamonds is nothing to get excited about. You know what? Let's just pause again. Let's just look at the hand. Let's look at the hand. Let's just look at the hand now. All right, I'm closing Poker Stars. Poker Stars now closed. Now give me a sec to fire up the rest of it so we can take a look. Okay, let's take a gander. So there's a couple things in play in this pot. Let's take a look at the hand again before we move on. There's a lot of issues with this hand. So playing heads up deep shallow stack poker, you need to be aware of ranges pretty considerably. We start the hand here at 7 big blinds effective, and therefore our opponents will be all in with a lot of their very good high cards. So for example, most queens can shove profitably, like queen deuce off can shove. It's kind of that's where it starts to get break even. Queen deuce off, all in. Queen 3, queen 4, queen 5, like basically all the queens, all the kings, all the aces, very easy jams here. So your opponents end up having very few super good diamonds pre-flop based on their pre-flop action. But also, we're in the same category, although we will actually end up having better diamonds here a little bit more often because we will check back, you know, some of our suited queens and our suited kings and stuff like that too. So we end up having better diamonds here than our opponents, but we have not really played our hand like we have ace of diamonds or king of diamonds because those hands can be jammed often as well. So as played, our opponent should be aware of this. Zelzo will be aware of this. So once we actually end up in this situation, we've made the diamond flush, and then there's potentially a spot where we have a 9 or a 6 or a deuce on the flop that we've called with, and the board runs out like this. Shoving to get us off of a chop or convincing us to fold a small diamond is extremely highly valuable. And we just won't have that many high diamonds. Our opponents won't have the same. So we kind of just end up having a mandatory call, I think. With that in mind, let's take a look at the actual hand. Let's see if we're stupid. Because I feel stupid right now. I feel like everything we do is stupid right now. Okay, so the hand is going to be played alternatively according to GTO. Let's take a look. The issue that we have here as well is once the turn is a single tick, I think it's tricky. Anyway, so far so good. This is what we do every time. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Once they bet, we're never folding. Call. On the turn, they might want us to lead some of the time. Yeah, that's fine. I understand that this is a deviation that GTO will want to make. That's whatever. The option to check is more of a style choice here as opposed to, you know, this is a spot where we like to lead. In fact, what's interesting is GTO wants to lead for a very specific reason. That's GTO-y. I want to check for a very specific reason because I know our opponents will try and over-represent their hands, which is why the river call is kind of mandatory. Once we arrive here and our opponent's all in, it is a 100% call. Now, it is... The entire hand is jaded by the GTO output is jaded by the fact they expect us to lead the river, the turn, excuse me. But once we arrive here, it's an absolutely mandatory. It's a mandatory call. So yes, obviously style points, deviation, turn, whatever. But you guys can see that the computer says yes, like story checks out. Let's actually take a look at. Yeah, this is going to be broken here. Ignoring this, in fact, I guess what we need to do is go back to the pre-flop, basically. So once we've arrived, if we take a look at the pre-flop action here, this is our opponent's, this is their action. So basically, in order for them to have a high diamond, they need to have one of these traps, right? Everything else, like Queen Deuce here, for example, is still a call. They might have a bigger diamond with a queen. This is whatever, however many combinations, right? This is why this is super problematic. Our opponents just don't have that many great flushes because all the great, like the majority of the hands that have great flushes are played as a push pre-flop. There are some, absolutely, it makes sense. What we actually check back here, these are the hands that we check. We actually end up having a fair number of nice diamonds, right? More so than our opponent. I wish we could. Let's say that we actually do end up leading for one on the turn. Let's just play it that way. Lead call. And the river was, and it whatever stupid 5 of diamonds. There's just fewer diamonds in the deck as well, which is even funnier. So let's say that we did actually lead and we ended up with the 7-5 with the 7 of diamonds. Those are all right here. They still want us to try and go for additional value, which I think is really funny. But again, this is a very computery thing that's happening. Let's say that we do decide to check, and this is our opponent's range. How often do they have a flush here? So they have a flush about 42.4% of the time when we lead and they call. That's a huge, 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 huge difference, right? Let's say that we check here on the turn. How often does our opponent have a flush? 32.7% of the time. Xavier Poker says, against the reg, I like to lead on the turn. You should be leading against the reg more frequently. Again, you should be leading the turn more frequently against a reg. I agree, because that's obviously just close to GTO, but it is still definitely a thing that people mess up. So how often do they arrive on this river based on this play? It just full stop, right? How often do they have a hand here? 32.7% of the time they have a flush, which means the call is absolutely mandatory on the river, which was confirmed by the computer anyway. But it's nice that I can give myself a little bit of support in my time of need. Because everything that I do right now is wrong in poker. And it's making me feel like I'm crazy. But I can't help but feel like maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe we just like run like shit. And our opponent does have pocket jacks with the jack of diamonds in a limped spot where we would have folded pre-flop, but ended up flopping a straight flush draw. called, made the flush, was then given additional evidence that our opponent did not have made flush, priced into call on the river. It's complicated, guys. It's complicated. All right, I'm turning all that off now. We're going to fire up stars again. Let's play another game. Tony says, can you look at the hand with the 7-5 off? Is it ever a jam on the flop? Never. Never, never, never. No, no, no. Can't do that. Can't do that. Wow, that was a big pickup. 2 unknown players, by the way. I would have preferred a larger multiplier, but here we are. Aces is a pretty good hand. Put a little trap in here. That's also a nice spot. Hey, Monte, how's it going, buddy? Monte Manis. Cool, that was straightforward. So Tony, just so I'm not trying to dismiss you, mate. One sec. I turned off stars again. Let me see if I can get the hand up again, because I've just unmarked it. If we go into 1 second, let's see if I can find it this way. We were just looking at 2 seconds ago. I'm almost positive we can't just check shove it. I don't think that's a thing. Yeah, where's the hand now? 1 sec, let me find it for you, Tony. Here it is. Here it is. So let's study it from the starts. Let's go back to the flop. So it goes check, bet 1, 7-5. Yeah, no, 7-5 with the diamonds. Always a call. There's just no value in check shoving here. It's like you're gonna get called by better, and you're gonna get a lot worse to folds. Yeah, never check shove. Okay, close that up again. Let's fire up stars once again. Yeah, so this is the process right now, guys. I know I'm being a baby, but aside from the sarcasm, this is the process that I've been trying to fulfill for myself during this time when we're not doing very well. You know, I'm playing pots, very expensive pots that cost entire stacks. I'm playing these pots that cost like huge amounts of chips, which is obviously our lifeblood in spin and go. And I'm just trying to confirm that I'm not just completely like losing it, you know, in these situations where I'm like, I just feel like this is a very standard hand. It's like the devil's in the details, and I have a couple different tools right now that help me to deal with, like, you know, what could be serious bias, right? If you're tilted, if you're feeling like not good about poker, it's very easy to be like, oh, you know, listen to this hand. I played this hand and I was so unlucky. You know, I've like uploaded like my entire hand history from like this month, and I've had every single hand analyzed, and still filtered for hands that were troublesome, and still filtered for hands that were quote unquote blunders or whatever. And you know, there's mistakes in there. Don't get me wrong, but like overwhelming, you know, very solid poker, and the deviations that were made are almost always justifiable. The blunders that were made were like, you were supposed to call with Jack 9 suited, but you folded it, you know, like, but like Jack 7 suited was the fold, Jack 9, Jack 8 suited was the call. You know, that's like a blunder that cost one big blind or whatever in that pot, but they're obviously very infrequent. So I'm not just filtering for hands that I feel like, oh, I'm so unlucky. I'm studying the hands that I find interesting because I think they might be close and we're coming up gold. And I'm also studying the hands that slip in between the cracks that you might overlook as well. Mr. Swain, I didn't even see the hand. I was thinking about the previous spot. Maybe we need some labels from the previous games there. I've lost them now because I closed the client. Do we just blast off of force here? I'd prefer to just river a set. That'd be nice. Hey, Gil, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, no good, buddy, no good. It's all under control. It's not, nobody's losing their house or anything, but brutality continues. I've never seen a showdown line look like this in my life. I've played so much poker. I've never, ever had a losing blue line. It's actually killing me. It's insanity. Do I know my win rate per 1,000 games? I could probably find it. Our chip EV is absolutely in the garbage this year, though. Like we're like sub 10 now. We're sub 10 big blinds. Sorry, 10 chips per game, which is like unheard of. I've never ever had that in my life. I'd say lifetime we're something like 60,000 chips under expectation, though. But it's a different metric anyway, right? Because the oh, actually, I haven't said that. This is actually filtered for. Oh, that would be all spins, wouldn't it? Yeah, never mind. Okay, we'll put this one in the review pile, but again, pretty much positive this is a shove. And we seem to be making these ones. We've reviewed a lot of these small blind jam spots multi-way, and we seem to be nailing them now. But we never seem to have the best hand, unfortunately. Do I know my win rate in over 1,000 games? What percentage? Oh, so this year, I can tell you what this year is. It's not good. This year. So this year, my ITM is 34%. As in winning 34% of games played. Which is obviously more than 1/3 of the games you play, which is fine, but you need to beat the rake as well, which is the tricky part. If I filter for last year, however, last year my ITM was 35%, much more respectable. Interesting. Very interesting, Kian. Oh, that looks nice. All right, let's play some more poker. McCoy says I'm at 40% win rate at the $50 splins in MIPA in New Jersey market. Sick, dude. That's very good. I'm going to say this with kindness. I don't know if that's sustainable long term, but like, fuck yeah, dude, keep it up. But then also, having said that, those markets are reg speeds, right? We're playing obviously the merge pool, which is different. All right, we're playing a fast one. Screw it. Let's go. So the reg speeds obviously will give you a larger edge. And then also, I think those pools are probably going to be like super, super soft. So good for you, man. Keep it up. Don't stop. Keep studying. Don't get complacent. Yeah, the $25 in on .com are tough games. Like, you know, you guys are seeing the same thing I am. You guys are watching the same shit I am here. Like, we're definitely, you know, we're playing against some tough opposition. Yeah, this isn't very good from Drago here, but you know, it'd be really cool to trap Prinzel here with Ace 10. How cool would it be to trap Prinzel? Chat. It's okay. We'll get him on the flop. 15K without rake back or promotions, bruh. Very good, mate. Keep going. Yeah, don't stop, man. Keep blasting. Let's go. We're getting check raised, but we ain't folding. We're going to catch a bluff on the turn. Prinzel's all in. He's going to call us with King 7. Prinzel. Stop yo bluffing. Man, we ran like shit last year too. So last year we ended up 20,000 chips under EV after the 5K games that we played. Bruh. One of these... Bruh! One of these days, guys. One of these days. One of these years, the upswing will happen. One of these years. But it is not this year. We are beating the bluffs here, to be fair. It's just magnificent stuff, isn't it? I mean, even some of the bluffs made 2 pair backdoors here. Couldn't just win with those 9s, huh? I've got a $22 main event tournament this Sunday. I sighted into off of a free Saudi entry on Global. Hopefully my MTT luck will be good. I hope so too, mate. Somebody's got to go win something. Somebody's got to win something. All right, we win some money. That's nice. I can tell you one thing right now, guys. When the upswing comes, we're going literally straight to the moon because I feel like we're doing a lot right. We're doing a lot of poker right. And we just need to actually like make a hand once in a while and like win at Showdown once in a while. And I think we will be okay. Like on a list of things that we are doing bad and good, we're way up here. We just need the poker gods to actually not give this guy a monster every time we shove King 10, which is correct. You know what? Let's take a little break here. Let's take a little pause after this game. Just want to double check I'm not completely losing my mind and that people occasionally fold and they don't always have a monster. This one's going to be pretty close. Let's take it out. Let's mark the 9-7 as well. We'll check both while we're at it. They're weird because there's extra dead money in the pot, so you get much better odds when you're short stacked. Quizfoo, thank you very much. Quad 10s is a good hand. Quad 10s is a super good hand, mate. We're not folding King Jack of Spades. We'll double check this one too. We should have very live cards. Let's go. I have to make big folds and MTTs that are snap calls and spins. That's very true. There's so much range adjustment in spin in MTTs as well. I am very understudied in the ICM department, but obviously having watched a lot of really good players play for so long and done commentary for European Poker Tour and all the other stuff that we do at Poker Stars, I do feel like I've got a decent feel for it, but that's not enough. You know, you gotta really be precise in the adjustments you make and the folds that you are involved in. Spins have ruined my ability to click fold the first few years I played poker. I mean, it's a big thing. The spin and go thing is very, very funny because once you get so used to short, like three-handed or heads up play, once you get to that point, you forget, what an under the gun range looks like and how tight it is, He's going to call with ace high. Damn. Don't be silly, mates. Don't be silly. All right. Sanity break. Turn off Poker Stars. Poker Stars is now closed. This is the part of the show when we confirm that we are not losing our fucking minds while simultaneously actually losing our minds. Let's take a look. All right, so Poker Stars is closed, guys. Like I said, we are not using GTO Wizard while we are playing because that is against TOS and we never do that. So let's copy this hand history. If you guys missed it, this is a shove from the button. If it seems trivial, you'd be surprised how wide this call is meant to be. Let's just double check this one because this one actually might be close. You're supposed to call pretty darn wide here. Okay, let's see. Let's actually look at the range though. So the player shoves. This is how wide the calling range is. It includes, 6-7 suited, 8-6 suited. These obviously just have better equity, but what do we have? 7-9. 7-9 here, 7-9 suited is a call. You see what I'm saying? It's actually definitely close, but still accurate. We're not going crazy. Okay, cool. Unmark that hand. Here's another one. So we've managed to play the first hand very well. We picked up some chips. We're now chip leading. We're in this really weird situation where both of our opponents are kind of unevenly stacked, but both quite short. So under these circumstances, a lot of these hands just become an easy push because we start to cover both players. And also with that differentiation in stack, that tends to be a thing. So let's just confirm, are we crazy? Are we crazy? Okay, it's close, but it is an option. It's going to be 50-50. It is going to be boom. Okay, cool. So the raise exists. The jam also exists. Now let's actually take a look at this spot in more detail. Let's assume we're looking at an asymmetric pot of, in actual fact, 1 second, 15. This is not even the spot, but okay, cool. Let's take a look at boom. Okay, now let's take a look at 15-15. Because there might be a difference between 15-15, 10. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, we are going in the right direction. So it does exist. The shove is approved. Okay, we're not going crazy. We didn't make this shit up. Good stuff. Let's close that up. Let's play some more poker. Also, we missed the King Jack spot as well. Sorry, before we turn stars back on, we had the King Jack spades overcall, didn't we? Come on. What the hell? Oh, here you go. King Jack of spades. So if you guys missed this one, this is the overcall for 7 big blinds. I would be very surprised if this was not a call. Okay, we're not going crazy. Good. Close GTO Wizard. Unmark hand. Oh, it's not marked anyway. That's fine. Okay, cool. Let's play poker. Just win the damn hands. I know. It's not. It used to be just get it in good and sometimes you win, but I guess we've only got the first part. Oh me, oh my. The heat and the spins is not a good mix for you, Nick. I mean, I'm actually like not doing too bad in here. I got a pretty good setup with the fans. It's honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with the heat. I think I'm just bored of getting beat down 24/7. Just pre-flop, post-flop, whatever. There's only so many ways you can lose in poker. I'm getting ticked off on all of them. Ticking all the boxes this year. Okay. Tell you what, starting again from now. I think we can steal this one. All right, starting again from now. Starting again from now. Does anybody ever shove anything other than the nuts? I don't get it. Are these people getting dealt the same hands as me? How the fuck do they always have a pair? It's insanity. Like, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna study these ranges. Let's study the ranges. Like, you know, like, what are we gonna do with what are we gonna do with 100% of the hands in play? And every time, every single time, they just have it. Like, I've forgotten what it looks like for somebody to shove and you make a totally standard call and they don't literally just have the nuts. Literally. I've forgotten what it's like to be all in and see a fold. It just doesn't exist in my game anymore. Da, 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 da. Oh, Chelik. There you go. Chelik actually shoves a hand that isn't the nuts. Feels very good for Nash to mean something once in a while. Chelik. Chelikio. Millionaire Mojo says, I've forgotten since it's been a while since you all have had 25 big ones on stars. Are we 3x opening or 2.5x opening RFI and spins? So you're always min raising, except for unless you're blind v blind. And there's a couple different interpretations, but usually you want to make it 3x until you get to around 20 effective, and then you want to make it around 2.5, and then you get to 14, and then you start making it around 2. Yeah, it's so between like 25 and 20, just make it 3, and then from 19 down to like 15, make it 2.5, and then 14 and below, if you want to raise, make it a min raise. There's a couple of like exploits you can add in there, but in order to exploit, you have to not be playing 2 regs, which is also something we're struggling with.
step inside this cheap hotel. I don't fold my cards, baby. I'm all in. Another $100 in my hand, still holding. Put it all on the table. I'm always chasing something. You say the game is over. I still want it. I still want it. I still want it. Give my word away. It echoes through the hallway. I'm lost at sea, and she won't wait.
Yes.
I could take a break, or I could break a string. On this soul,
Just majestic stuff there. Majestic.
all the same things. I don't fold my cards, baby. I'm all
Just majestic there.
another $100 in my hand, still holding. Put it all on the table. I'm always chasing something.
Why is this bit so? This bit of my shirt is like weird.
When I'm on the road, I'll be thinking of you. You're all I wanna hold. I'll never fold. I don't fold my cards, baby. I'm all in.
You can probably push Jack 8 suited here. I'm just not going to do it.
Put it all on the table. I'm always chasing something. You say the game is over. I still want it. I still want it.
I kind of assume we need to call this one, but again, it just feels like we could just not. I mean, we're not going to win a showdown, so maybe we should take that into account. Beat twice. Beat by both players, including the one that we dominated. Yeah, we're not going to miss this against Chelik. He's a really good rag. It's like 2-3 big blinds within a call. Dominated, of course. It's just crazy how often that happens. It's actually blowing my mind. King Queen. Sorry, guys. I'm just reading the chat here. Opening is still 2x for me. From small blind, it's 2.5 big blinds above 17 big blinds, and below it's 2. Nah, don't have a 3x from the small blind. I'm too studied or stubborn to switch it. I mean, yeah, fair enough. You can play it however. I would say you don't want a 2x. You don't want a 2x from 17 big blinds and below. That's you're not putting enough chips in the middle. Just 2.5 down to like 14. Or just always 2.5. Like if you just 2.5 from like 14 and above, you're gonna do okay, but you kind of want more folds, so honestly, like having a larger size isn't the end of the world. Going smaller is probably a bigger mistake because you're just inviting chaos from out of position. Winchester Hotel and Spa. Very, very spicy. I'm gonna start betting. I'm gonna call this a bluff. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good, man. It's very, very bright on my screen. We shan't be folding. It's a quick check. All right, ace 10, let's go. Okay, let's go. Don't remember this one. Don't remember this one. Don't remember this one. It feels like a fold. Okay, let's go. What is this hand? What is this god-awful hand? Okay, let's go. Not particularly good hands here. particularly impressive hands. And now we have no big blinds. Oh, fair fight. Fair fight. Was a fair fight. Okay, let's go. Cool. Okay, let's go. That's right, Zintex. Classic internet meme there. Absolutely classic internet meme there. Blind v blind, all in. Imagine them not waking up with a pair here. That'd be special, wouldn't it? Oh my god, a fold. I've never been so grateful for folds in my life. It's a real treat. People actually folding hands. Okay, let's go. Deuce and a tray keeps the doctor away. Slightly better. Now, can we win any EV here? Can we win any EV against the world famous KT? Okay, let's start bluffing. I think it's fine to do something like this here. And then we will bet the river again. Wow. Oh, man. Wow. Min check raise there. Ridiculously good. Syntex says, do you even know the story behind the meme? I always thought it's a kid with his father sharing the same passion, but it's even more obscure. They are not even related, but they share the same passion for this octopus ride. So some Dutch TV program thought it might be fun to bring those two together. And you know what? The kid's an adult now and owns a real octopus ride. No way. That is so cool. Thank you for sharing, Zintex. That's actually so interesting. I always thought it was like there was like a kid who was into Lego or something because he had that little like Lego with the microphone and all that. I thought it was just a kid and his dad, and they were just like out of stories. They just didn't have any stories for that weekend or whatever. So they went around and just filmed a kid and his dad. That's so crazy, dude. Got no action for the Ochos. Okay, let's just keep playing poker. Man, these late game spots are so lame. We're getting like 10 big blinds effective, and we're just folding half the deck. It's crazy. I mean, not literally half the deck. We're getting the bottom 1% of the deck, and we have to fold every time. All right, guys, so it's coming up to 4:15. We are going to do some review in a sec. Bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck. Not quite the bottom of the deck, but not good enough there. Top of the deck. Top of the deck. Top of the deck. I only want you to be mine and not understand. And I will be the winner until the city burns. I will be the winner. Bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck. Top of the deck. Top of the deck. Yeah, the calling range at 4 here is so wide. King 3 definitely got a call here. Yes, there we go. That's more like it. That's more like a chat. Yeah, any two cards here. Any two cards, and the guy's got an ace. Squeeze these nuts. Not quite a call. It's actually pretty close, but it's not quite there. King Trey, King Trey. All right, it's a win. That's nice. Let's play a few more, and then we will get into some review. We got some really interesting ones to look at. We got a bunch of bullshit too. All right, $125. Let's make this a winning sesh here, chat. We can do this today. Today, we can do this, guys. We can do it today. It's possible to do this today. It's possible. We can make this a very, very winning sesh. Watch this trap from Ace King. This is world class. Watch this world class trap from Nicholas Walsh. World class tramper. 3 big blinds collected. Okay, against the unknown player here. Unknown player energy. Okay. Dave-O! Dave-O, what are you doing, my man? What are you doing, buddy? What you doing, Dave-O? Dave-O! What you doing, buddy? Go on, give him a boat for the memes. Give him a boat for the memes. Chelik. Chalico. Man, as soon as you get a decent multiplier, you remember how good this game can be with a couple more chips. You really start to feel how much better it can be. 10. I will take a chop here. The chances of me folding King Jack there for 11 big blinds is approximately 0.01%. I do see the link, mate. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's go. Here we go. Oh my god, honestly, it's such a classic meme. Such a classic meme. I'll check it out, Tone. Syntax. Go give it another watch. Okay, let's go. Did you guys notice how Davo just had King Queen in that spot as well? Like an absolute Dawn. Like an absolute super boss. Bottom of the deck. 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 I don't think I needed that in my brain. I don't think any of us needed that in my brain. It just came back to me a minute ago as well. Okay, let's go. Well, that was not a good run out for our friend Davo. I would have preferred to play heads up against Davo rather than Chelik, but here we are. This is what we're gonna do now. This is our game today. Can it go check river and we can win? Oh, it's a possibility. It's a possibility, chat. It is definitely a possibility. If Chelik raises, I'm shoving this straight in his face. Is this a double gut shot? Is this a combo draw, chat? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ace 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this a combo draw, chat? I swear to God. I am bluffing, by the way, guys. I am bluffing this river. Wish me luck. Wish me luck. Herein lies the problem. I just want you guys to understand what's going on here. This is a call against Chelik, by the way. Here's the problem, chat. Here is the problem. Just hold. Here is the problem, chat. This is what's wrong with the world, okay? We should be allowed to make a combo draw. Number one, sometimes when we shove weak hands, our opponents should fold. We're not allowed to do that. Sometimes when we call, we shouldn't always be dominated. Sometimes when your opponent is trying to represent a hand, we should just call and just get there and we should just have a nice hand. We have to work for every penny, every goddamn penny. If we were not making moves like that, we would be in the bin right now. Every penny, every single penny that we've won this year, every penny, hard fought, just like that. It should not be that hard, guys. I usually Google 1970s NASCAR drivers or something else obscure. I've never Googled Octopus Boy in Man video. It should not be that hard, chat. It shouldn't be that difficult. We shouldn't have to work that hard to win this money. We should be allowed to make some draws. We should be able to win at Showdown once in a while. We should just be allowed to have the best hand occasionally. Christ. Daniel McGlynn says, come in through the window like Doyle says. You've been put through it recently, Nick. Keep the faith. I appreciate you, man. Daniel, I sincerely, comments like that save my life, man. I really appreciate your support, dude. Thank you. We had to come in through the window, boys. We were lurking. Safe search is about to explode. Mr. Swain's asking about the Jack 6 versus the 10s. Didn't just one shove Jack 6 off in you versus the 10 big blind small? Yeah, what did I have, buddy? I'll look it up, Mr. Swain. I didn't have it marked. I know the hand you're talking about, but I was... Did I have aces? I had aces, right? All right, let me just look through this first. This will be easier. Man, hand to note is really freaking out right now. Other way, okay. Yeah, he had Jack 6 off, yes. I found the hand. Yeah, I min raised the button, he 3-bet jammed Jack 6 offsuit. Normal services resumed. All right, we'll play this one. We'll play this one in one more game, and then we will take a look at some. And then we'll take a look at some review, guys. A lot of it, like I said, as per usual. Oh my fucking god! A lot of it will, as per usual, just be simple pre-flop stuff, and then there's a couple longer spots we can take a look at. Okay, one more lucky game. Yeah, Mr. Swain, I min raised blind v blind, and he 3-bet jam jack 6 off. So I was looking somewhere else at the time, but you're right. You had it. Okay, one last game. At this point, I'm pretty sure player left is also a reg. Like, there are different levels of reg, of course. Not everyone is just super genius, but with the spinning goes being the way they are right now, anybody who's put in a decent number of hours will kind of know the spots pretty well. At least the pre-flop, which is more and more important in the merged player pool. It was just such a nice treat to play a 1-2-5. It's like there was actually a bit of play, you know? There was a bunch of back and forth, and then ends up like starting the heads up 20 big blinds effective. Like, that's so much more interesting. Mexico. Not quite. Okay, tricky one. We are probably going to end up calling down here quite often. In an ideal world, we would just improve in some way. That'd be cute. I think we're going to check call the river. I think that's the idea. He can value bet a queen, which would be really annoying because, first of all, he has to have a queen. Nice. Yeah, this one seems too pure. Let's go for it. Push and fold, man. Getting folds when you push is so effing nice. Probably not quite there. This is fine. Let's do it. Let's try and find a little trapper here. Nice. It's going to the jack here. Wow, we run bad on the turn. Okay, we got a flop. Bottom of the barrel there. Jeez. Give us a hand for real, dude. Cold blood, man. Cold blood. Jesus. This is what we got to play with here. 2 live cards, no good. Cool. GG's. All right, let's take a look at the results for today, and then we'll do some review. This is our day in chips. Let's take a look. This is not the right button. All right, so let me clean it up for you guys. This is how it all turned out. We ended up winning some EV today despite everything that was going on. We ran slightly above expectation in chips, which is also a nice treat. And we ended up winning $100 with an 18 chip EV, which is okay. If we had more days like this, we'd probably be doing well, better overall in the challenge, but this is okay. This is fine. Lots and lots and lots of very big pots today that very easily could have gone our way for one reason or another. But we did manage to grind out something that resembles a acceptable acceptable session. So with that being said, guys, let me close up PokerStars and let's get to work on our review session here. So PokerStars is now closed. So we're going to do some review. We're going to use some tools that are not allowed to be used while you are playing on PokerStars. Should be obvious which ones. And it's important that I mention that because I don't want there to be any confusion. None of these sorts of things are open while I'm playing, obviously. So let's go ahead and fire up our review session. So here we go. From the bottom, we have Queen 10. We raise, our opponent shoves, and we call. Okay, fair enough. Whatever. Let's take a look at it. So I think the reason why I'm looking at this one is because we aren't min raising often enough or frequently enough at these sort of middling stack depths. I would assume that once we min raise, we have to gamble with this combination, but I might be wrong. Let's go ahead and check this one out. Sorry, guys, this big white screen over here. There we go. Yeah, it's part of the min raise call range here. Just out of interest, I want to see how often we are min raise calling. So after the min raise and there is an all in, we are going to call with, I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? These are pretty standard hands. We're actually calling with more ace combos than expected here, though. Ace 5, ace 6, ace 7, ace 8. I would assume that this is a bit sensitive though, actually. So if we look at what the big blind is supposed to 3-bet here, 3-bet all in, it's safe to assume that not everybody is 3-bet jamming all of these combinations. In fact, wow, actually, 3-bet jamming offsuit kings is not something that I expect to see here at 15 big blinds effective, which is pretty poor. I mean, honestly, this is maybe a range that we need to take another look at, because 3-bet jamming king deuce off, king 4 off, king 5 off, king 6 off is a nice trick that I'm definitely not making use of. The suited connectors are in there for sure. The pairs are in there for sure. The aces for sure. This is one that we can actually review. This is why it's important that we don't just play the yes or no game. We don't want to just say, did I do the right thing? We want to know why we're doing what we're doing. And actually, if we were to remove these, because a lot of players wouldn't have these, let's for example do a custom solution, excuse me. Let's do a new solution. Let's do chip EV pre-flop. Let's do 2 players chip EV. We're 15 big blinds effective with limps. We are not going to have a 2.2. Don't be so fucking ridiculous. And let's see what that looks like. And also let's duplicate this and let's go back one. Back again. Okay, so this is the GTO solve. GTO wizard solve. This is our new one. So this is starting in the small blinds. Why is it a different shape? That's really annoying. Okay, similar output. Fold, call, raise, 15. Yep. Okay, cool. So far, let's assume that we are going to play a raise. And now let's node lock here. Let's assume that we are going to call. Nobody's ever jamming those. A lot of players aren't going to be jamming these either. Okay, this is correct. We want lock previous nodes. Okay, apply. So this is our new strategy facing the min raise. And then if we were to assume that we're all in now, this is the new calling range. So you can see that we're not going to call with as many ace combos. So this is the normal output. This is our reaction to an all-in. So all-in, and this is the calling range, and this is the comparative range here. So as you'd expect, just a little bit tighter. All the stuff that should usually be in there stays in there. It's just not going to be as many aces. That feels quite natural. Okay, cool. So we learned something here. We also learned that we need to take a better look at what we're doing at 15 facing min raises, because we're not as aggressive as that. That's really interesting. There's another question mark as to whether or not we should be as aggressive as that against an unknown player, because they won't min raise as often as they should, especially at 15 big blinds effective. But in any case, yes, the min raise call is a thing. Cool. McCoy says King X offsuit is, yeah, jams. Had to learn that trick with the group. That min raise 80 plus. They have some shove bluffs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, makes sense, doesn't it? Sure. So here is a limp. We raise to 2.4. Our opponent calls. Check, 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 and we bet 1, and our opponent calls. Honestly, I have no idea what we're supposed to do here at all, so I'm not going to pretend like this is one that I am confident about. But let's take a look at the line. Okay, so basically, check river is probably the difference, right? I mean, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be sneaky, because I think people, real people, as opposed to the computer, are going to call with an 8 or a 5 here quite often. But yeah, so raise to 2.5 is probably the actual size they want to use. Yep. We have a 2.4 here for exploit purposes, but it's exactly the same. Check, check, check. Oh, actually, no, the deviation is here. So on the flop, check 100%. Our opponent checks. Why does it skip that though? What's happening here? Flop, flop, check, check turn. Okay, fine. So on the river, they actually want us to value bet for more. So we ended up betting 1. So we were thinking along the right lines, but actually betting a 2 or a 3 is superior. That's very interesting. You know what's cool about this is if you do end up betting 3 on this river, you can actually probably get some Jack X to fold, as well as obviously some weird calls from 8s and 5s. But we're thinking along the right lines, and from an exploit perspective, I think this is definitely a win. I'm happy with this one. That's fine. Right, 9-7 here. We go with a jam. This is just a straight. Nick is sad because he knows he's supposed to shove, but he never wins. So I'd be surprised if I got this one wrong. Perfect play. Yep. There's nothing to see here. We're just shoving 6 big blinds, and we're marking this because we're pissed off because we're not winning right now. Limp. Big ISO call. This is a very interesting one. So, take you guys through this. We start the hand at around 9.5 bigs, maybe around 10. Let's call it 9.5. Our opponent ISOs to 2.5. I believe Queen Jack suited is just a limp call. So we call. Our opponent bets like 1.2. What you have to realize is on King 4 Deuce, we will have the best hand here a lot of the time. If you're playing against a thinking opponent who has the correct frequency of bluffs. The other cool thing to think about here is once they bet 1.2 and we call, it's very difficult for them to bluff. And there's also some of their hands that beat us that also struggle to put in another barrel, because we will end up having, you know, a king here once in a while. Not as much as you'd think, because a lot of the King X is played as a shove pre-flop, but it exists. So once we get on this turn, our opponent jams, and it's obviously a fold at this point, I think. But 2 things here. Number 1, are we supposed to call flop? Because I think we probably have to. Number 2, I think my opponent is allowed to jam a lot of their random hearts. So if they were to raise versus limp, for example, with 10-5 offsuit, I think the 10 of hearts is allowed to jam turn here quite often. That's my assumption. Let's actually take a look at the whole hand, because we can definitely learn something here on both sides. Okay, so yeah, perfect play. I mean, look, good, nailed it, love it, that's fine. Now I want to take a look at what we were saying about the ISO. So first and foremost, I am not going crazy. Our opponents are allowed to ISO 10-5 offsuit, right? Let's take a look at that. So we limp and our opponent is here. They have, take a look at 10-5 offsuit. Okay, they are allowed to have that combination. 10-4 is more frequent, Jack 4 is more frequent. It's all in the same category. I'm not losing my mind, right? It's not a frequent thing, but I was picking a random combo. I didn't mean literally 10-5 off. I just mean a random trashy hand. Now, let's say instead, if we want to be more true to ourselves, let's say that Jack 4 off is a combo that we are going to ISO here. It is more frequent, but I would say I don't think it matters. Let's take a look at the 10-5 and the Jack 5, 10-5 Jack 4. But once we've arrived on the turn and it's an 8 of hearts, my assumption is that the big blind is allowed to jam a lot of their hearts, including the 10 of hearts and the Jack of hearts. So let's take a look at that line here. And the all-ins are... Okay, so there actually might be an issue with the situation here. So maybe those hands don't c-bet. Maybe that's the issue. Okay, they do bet. Okay, no, so this is what's happening. So the c-bet, he goes for a 1.2. The actual c-bet that you're going to use with this combination is going to be 1.5 or 2. So it's kind of confused because it doesn't exist later on in the line. Let's assume that they went for a 1.5, which is basically the same. Okay, let's say that we did go for 1.5 and there was a call, which is actually not that far away from what we were doing anyway. 8 of hearts, and now are you allowed to jam? The answer is boom. Okay, cool. That's Jack 3 with the 3 of hearts, Jack of hearts, Jack of hearts, Jack of hearts, Jack of diamonds, 3 of hearts. So even just the pure 3 of hearts is acceptable here on this occasion. If we were to 10-5 is going to be played differently earlier in the line as well. So if we go back to here and so 10-5 offsuit was right here. The c-bet here was to 1. We call it was the 8 of hearts. So 10-5 off. Okay, it's a sliver because the frequency is so small. Also, the pot size is different. Okay, so obviously the size is messing this up, but it's the right concept. If you have the 10 of hearts, you continue to barrel for a big significant portion of your stack. So we're thinking along the right lines, right? If we actually keep to 1.5, we see if we can find the same trend. It's the 8 of hearts, and now you're in the big blind. The all-ins are going to be the these are kings. Never mind, that's stupid. So 5 of hearts is fine to shove. Queen of hearts is fine to shove. Basically, the answer is yes, confirmed. If you have a heart, you jam. Yeah. Story checks out. We've confirmed not only the fact that we're thinking along the right lines, but our opponents are also allowed to do what we perceive that they're meant to do. That's good. I would say also, a lot of people have contacted me to say like, oh, Nick, you put too much stock in GTO. Like, not everybody plays like that. That's fine. I'm not concerned about that. These are real working examples. Like, some of the spots that we've discussed so far are not obscure, like, you know. So for example, the range that we looked at where you're supposed to min raise call with ace 5 off, the min raise call ace 5 off 20% of the time is like GTO nonsense, for sure. And it is so heavily dependent on your opponent using the correct range and the correct, like, you know, frequencies. It's too sensitive. That's GTO nonsense, and that's why I specifically went out of my way to try and debunk some of that. These are not. These are completely reasonable. The only thing you might consider unreasonable is the queen jack suited float on the flop is a little bit sensitive to the fact that your opponent needs to have some bluffs as an ISO at 2.5. However, it's still probably too high up in your range for it to be that sensitive anyway. So this is not GTO nonsense. This is just going to be good poker, I think. Okay, A7. So we ended up calling here. What I said on stream, if you guys want to go back and double check, this is what I said. I'm pretty sure that we're meant to 3-bet jam some of our weaker aces, but the better aces we flat. So A7 is probably one of the more frequent calls. It's probably not a nightmare just to 3-bet A7 here either, but we ended up calling. On the flop, our opponent bets 1. We're going to play very slow most of the time here. Our opponent continuation bets again, and we end up jamming on the 2 flush draw board. Our opponent calls with jacks, and I think that's probably fine. So let's go ahead and copy this one, and we'll take a look at this one as well. I think that this is good from both players. Okay, on the flop, they might have wanted us to check raise, but it's probably also going to be... Okay, let's just go through the whole hand. So min raise, call. Again, this is going to be a GTO versus style thing, but that's fine. Check, bet. They want us to raise. And this is one of those situations where this is the GTO nonsense that I think is really, really interesting to point out. There is absolutely nothing wrong with check calling ace high here. Absolutely not. I mean, the EV is already almost identical in all 3 lines. Raise 3, raise 4.5, call. However, people will blast so much more. They will not defend the correct range if you check raise to 4.5. It just does, like, even playing very good GTO opponents, if you flat here and check raise to 4.5, I'm not saying you won't win chips. I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying that this is definitely inferior to flatting against real people in real life. So anyway, assuming that we do actually end up calling and our opponent bets, the all-in is appropriate. That's fine. I'm completely satisfied with this. Like I said, I'm not here to try and be perfect GTO. I'm here to figure out if we're just completely off base. And obviously, if the computer is completely dead set on making this 4.5 big blinds to go as like this giant, huge raise, this obviously is going to be the correct answer versus this because it's a higher number. But this is almost definitely going to be more appropriate in real games. Talking about debunking, you know, but let's not breeze over that. Let's actually do a bit of a deeper dive here, because what's going to probably be really interesting is, first of all, what we're supposed to be raising to 4.5, because it's going to be way more than what normal people do. And therefore, the response from the computer is going to be massively different, right? So our opponents are going to end up calling like 4.5 with king high and stuff like that, right? Let's assume that we want to check raise this to 4.5 big blinds. You're supposed to do this with a 4. Like a lot. 5-4 offsuit is supposed to just make it 4.5 here. People aren't doing this. If you were a genius and you knew this range perfectly and your opponents were definitely doing this, right, with these hands, you suddenly have to really start paying off a 4.5x check raise, but it's just not happening. So therefore, you need to play possum a lot more aggressively. So King 5 offsuit, if you have the King of Spades, is supposed to raise to 4.5 some of the time. King 3 offsuit with the King of Spades is supposed to check raise to 4.5. Like, maybe doing this in this way is very powerful, but a lot of the value that you want to try and glean from this hand is the assumption that your opponent knows that you do this and they respond, because GTO is predicated on the fact that opponents know each other's strategies and they're competing against each other, right? And so if you're not doing it with these hands, then the check raise is so absurdly strong. It's weighted very heavily towards combo draws. Queen Jack of Spades, I'm assuming, there it is, nailed it. King Queen of Spades, it would have been in pre-flop, so that doesn't exist. This is Jack 9 of Spades. Yeah, there you go. It's like, it's so heavily weighted towards hands that are very obvious and very strong hands that suddenly it's just not, you know, it's not, it just doesn't, if you're gonna play this hand perfectly, that's fine. Real people will assume that you're much stronger than you are and they're not gonna pay you enough. So now let's assume that we do check raise to 4.5. Look at what you're supposed to call with here, right? You've got aces, kings, queen, you got the obvious stuff, right? You're still supposed to be calling with pocket sevens and pocket sixes and pocket fives. You're still supposed to be calling with six, 7 of spades. That's a flush draw, obviously. These will all be flush draws. You're still supposed to be in here with queen 10. You're still supposed to be calling a massive check raise with queen 10. Queen jack, offsuit, without the, like, even the ones without the spades. You know, like, it's just not, this isn't reality. So this is definitely completely fine. I'm happy with this. And then the rest is kind of confirmed happy anyway. That's fine. On mark. So sorry, McCoy does have a question here. Is there a way on GTO, instead of having mixed strategies on hands like call 33 or raise 67 on a hand, that it simplifies to basically all of our king 3 is a jam and all of our king 4, king 5 is a call? Yes, you can. Absolutely. You don't put me on the spot right now, but yes, that is definitely a thing. I think I know where it is. I think it's this one. Is it full height? No, that's not it. It's normalized. There is a way that you can do it, and I'm pretty sure there's also a way. There's also a way that you can do. Basic. There's one of these. There's like there's actually a couple options you can do here. So this is research. Like, you can do single size options, for example. So basically it'll just indicate, this simplifies every single spot to either check or bet, and it gives you a size that it thinks will be like the nearest. I'm going to fuck this up, but basically, if there are like 3 different sizes, it gives you like the one that is going to perform the best if you have to simplify it to one size, which is really useful if you want to learn new strategies. These obviously still sort of look like as though they're mixed, but there are different options you could do. I'm almost positive there's a way where you can like normalize it to like whatever the most frequent action is. It is easier to look at, though. I appreciate what you're saying for sure. But yeah, there's definitely a way to do it. Just I'm just a dummy. Okay, pocket tens. We limp. Our opponent raises. We flat. So I do think that the tens might be willing to just jam versus ISO here, but I do think the call is still a thing. Once we arrive here, our opponent bets. Obviously, we're not doing this to fold. The intention is to keep in the bluffs. The turn is a 9. I'm assuming that we want to still check. Our hand is very, very strong. On the river, our opponent jams, and you know we're not trapping to fold here. Our opponent might have a queen or a 9. He has a 9, of course, because it's us. This hand might be a massive car crash, but let's take a look, because in fairness, I think like even on stream I said like the 10s you can just jam here. I don't know if we're being too trappy, but let's take a look anyway. Oh no, it's just perfect, obviously. So yeah, like I said, if you're playing against good players, or limping with 10s is a trap. Once they raise to 2.5, again, this is the assumption your opponents are doing this. Think about how well pocket tens performs against this range. Therefore, it is very, very good to trap. Now, if you're playing against an unknown player who never raises from out of position, they will have all this and none of this, and therefore get the chips in because they might have that stuff and still fold, which is fantastic. Or you want to, I mean, your hand is basically just way more vulnerable against a better range. So get the chips in the middle, right? This is good. So honestly, once we arrive here, pocket tens, all these hands are limp calls, all of them. Okay. Once we arrive on the flop and our opponent bets 2, we're obviously never folding tens. Once it comes to 9, big blind checks, small blind checks, I assume 100% or most of the time. It looks like you're going to do some betting. It's majority checking. Obviously, it's very close. You can feel that in the hand anyway. And then the big blind is all in. Aces, kings, queens, or aces, kings, king, queen. Obviously, 9, king, 9 is going to be in there for sure. Yeah, it kind of is what it is. So yeah, it's just a shit hand, and we played it very well. Our opponent just has the nuts, so like cool. Anyway, blind v blind. There's a limp and there's a check. Our opponent bets, we float. Our opponent bets again, we float again. Our opponent check is all in. Bets 3, we call. This one might be a car crash. I'm not sure. It seems pretty standard. This is a limped pot, blind v blind. This is a limped pot, blind v blind, and your opponent is going to bet ace. They're going to bet ace queen 7 like 100% as a bluff. So I just don't see how you ever miss the call here, especially with the spade in your hand. The turn is kind of the same thing. Your opponent can bet the turn with like pretty much anything they want because we're so capped. Plus we have a flush draw. I mean, it just seems pretty obvious. Okay, so pre-flop is going to differentiate. They want to jam king 8 here. That's totally acceptable. I'm totally happy to accept that. The issue that I have is people have very unbalanced limping ranges here, so this is different in real life anyway. Once we arrive on the flop, bet call, fine. On the turn, the call is acceptable. Apparently they want you to jam turn now. That's actually probably a better line, to be honest. But that's conflicting because if we're not happy to jam king 8 versus the limp because we think our opponents are more prone to strength than weakness, then suddenly this is less true, right? Because the jam indicates that we think our opponents have more air. Quite a complicated spot, and it's one that deviates probably really far from the expectation pre-flop. So I think this is probably like, let's take a look at what's expected pre first. So the small blind calling range is supposed to look like this. I mean, look, you see how broken this is, right? So the computer is assuming that your opponent has this range. And this is just not how it works, right? Like this guy is going to limp way more hands than this, and he's probably not going to be min raising enough of these hands ever. So loads of these hands become limps, and so the whole thing is broken. Like you can't assume any. This is why it's important you dive into the actual breakdown, because the pre-flop will predicate the post-flop. And if you are here assuming that you've got this one right because this is the range, people are not calling any of these hands at this frequency, right? They'll call way more. This guy doesn't know to call 9-7 off at 2.8%. It's just nonsense. So the way this hand played, basically, the only confirmation we really have is on the flop, yes, you defend, and then you have to go with your gut thereafter. This is another good example of how the game is not solved because nobody has solved for that guy's tendencies ever. All right, here's the limp. I think we can actually shove 6-7 at some frequency here, but we decide to check. Once our opponent checks and we arrive on the turn, I think this is a perfect hand to lead. We are obviously repping a 4, a 9, a tray, and we have a gut shot, which is always helpful. And then once we arrive here, I think we just commit to the bet. Again, maybe the sizes are wrong, whatever. I'm not super confident that this is a slam dunk, but I feel like this isn't completely crazy. We just want to see if this is something that exists, kind of. Hello, cool hand Matt, excuse me. I really over attack those spots, shallow versus big blind. Okay, cool. So this is almost correct. There is a chance that this river is meant to be a jam. That's probably where I fucked up. And actually, now I'm thinking I haven't seen the river yet. That's my assumption. And actually, I'm okay with that. Obviously, the bet of 4 has a similar threat, but the jam is more consistent with I have a set of 4s or 3. Sorry, 3 of a kind. All right, so obviously pre-flop check is fine. What did I say here as well? Raise exists, the jam not so much. That's fine. Once we check, we are allowed to lead this one. Okay, that's definitely a consideration too. Check, check. Turn, lead is fine. 1.5 is actually perfect. Call. The river now. We are quite deep here, actually. Okay, the river is checked. They just want you to give up at this point. Fair enough. So we commit to this one on the river. Again, you know, the river action is very dependent on the actions that happen prior to this. However, I'm okay with this. This is fine. Let's move on. Okay, cool. So Queen Jack limp. Our opponent raises to 5.5. So this is a very, very specific one, guys. This is a reg. This is one of these very unusual dynamic sizes. So most spots heads up when you limp have 2 ISOs that are appropriate, the application of which is very difficult. But at around this stack depth, 5.5 is going to be perfect. Against Printle, I know he's doing this correctly. I think Queen Jack off is a call. Queen Jack suited is a jam. And then once we arrive on this flop, like I said, your opponent will have good hands that beat us, and all of their shit hands that they were bluffing with will connect with this board. It's catastrophic. Our opponent bets small. We just give up. I think this is going to be right on the money. I don't know. Let's take a look. Yeah. Okay, cool. So on the flop, they might still want us to float here or whatever because it's a small bet, but this is pretty much textbook. First of all, the assumption is the big blind is going to, what did I say? Shove Queen Jack suited, call Queen Jack off. Queen Jack suited all in. Queen Jack off, call. Nailed it. Now, if we look at what the big blind ends up with here, what did I say? Our opponents will have like 8-7 suited and 6-7 suited and all around that kind of stuff. They'll have ace king off, ace queen off, ace jack off, all that kind of stuff. They're gonna have like, it's a specific one. It's like 7 deuce off and 8-3 off are very, very, very frequent. Let's take a look at the big blind's range now once we get here. What did I say? What did I say? All around here, 6-7 suited, 8-7 suited, all of the high aces, and then all of this trash that just connects with 2 pair, all this right here. 8-4-3, 8-4 off, 8-3 off, 7 deuce off. Those were the frequent ones I mentioned, right? It's all up here. So why aren't we winning, chat? It's here. I'm not making this up. This is science. The science is failing me. The science is failing me right now, chat, because this is very good. Okay, so now let's assume that I'm assuming they want us to float flop some of the time, but it's, you know, it's weird. It's just so hard to make the float work because what they want to happen is they really want, okay, what was the size that he chose here in the end? He went for 2.8. So what, going for 2, theoretically speaking, again, nobody's this good. Theoretically, I mean, look how bleak this is. This is just awful. This is just terrible for us. It's just terrible. The float, we're floating and we know that we can't win, basically. We're floating and we know that we're losing. It's just not good. And even GTO Wizard is like, the thing is, we have such a good price is the problem, right? If we hit a queen or a jack, we're probably good, but like the queen might be dead. The jack might be dead. It's like such a negative free roll, and we're just not a computer. We're not good enough to actually like play this out. So it's obviously perfect, right? So we nailed it, obviously, again, but it doesn't matter because we can't win. Ace 3. All in, call. I don't know what to tell you, chat. I just think this is just another, this is textbook. So, sorry, that was a bit quick, guys, if you missed it. Button shoves 8 big blinds. This guy's short. We have, it's going to be any suited ace. I believe it's any suited ace. Let's take a look. I could be wrong. Oh! How many suited aces is it? How many? Oh, it's every suited ace? It's every suited ace? Okay, yeah. The science, guys. The science. The science. What did he have, by the way, guys? Oh, ace queen? Oh, it's weird. All right, that's all the hands. So we did manage to win some money today, guys. We did manage to win some EV as well. Good review session as well. Some really interesting spots, some quite complicated spots that actually we were getting right. A couple spots debunked. Cool Hand Matt says, I really over attack those super shallow blind v blind limps, not gonna lie. Yeah, no, and I think that's very good too. I think that honestly, Matt, I would say that they are probably very unbalanced towards weakness. So that limp is probably better played as a shove for sure, or a raise or whatever. So I'm on board with that. Just probably actually missed the pre-flop there. That was probably a mistake on my part. I used to only play min raises or shoves at like 12 effective and below, but then Texas Tomo told me I was missing out by not limping hands as weak as Jack 5 offers recreationals. Definitely want to limp super duper wide against Rex as you get shallow for sure. 100% agree. Don't do it against regs because they'll combat that by shoving King 8 there, right? Yeah, you have to VPIP it. I just don't think we do many flatting offsuits GTO. Yeah. No, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky stack depth, but yeah, we're there. So, guys, this is our year so far. In chips, by the way, chips. We managed to have, we won some chips today. We're not winning enough chips. We're not winning it fast enough. I really think that we are on the wrong end of Showdown this year. These are all the chips that we've won at Showdown for the whole year. 10,000 chips so far. It's not cool. Now, if we filter instead for all time, I think it is safe to say that we're doing something right. I mean, our blue line has sustained us for so many years. Click. Our blue line has sustained us for so many years. It seems very strange that we're suddenly flatlining blue line. I mean, it's happened before, apparently. We've always somehow managed to pull through, though. I just need to look at this graph for a minute, guys. I just need to remind myself I'm not a complete whale. Maybe I am a whale. I don't know anymore. For a guy that studies this much, I really feel like a whale. I swear to God. Ryan Williams in YouTube chat says, should you have 100x your bind for proper bankroll management, or is it different? If you want to play tournaments, I would say 100 is a... okay, first of all, if you want to play tournaments and you're playing small tournaments, 100x might be fine if you have a good edge against the games you play in and they are small field. If you're playing big field MTTs, you're going to want more than that for sure because it's absolutely gnarly. The variance is insane. If you want to play spinning goes and you are in the UK, for example, where you're playing with that merged different multipliers, different speeds, I would say you want 200 minimum. I would suggest 300. It's absolutely insane out there how it is insane how much variance is in the game now after the merge. If you're playing a 25 big blind spin and go, and that's the always 25 big blind start, same structure, I would say 100 is okay if you're very good and you're playing against the right field. But even a very good player with 100 buy-ins can go broke theoretically. With 25 big blinds starting. I would say generally for poker and any form of gambling, you want to basically have tons and tons of bankroll because going broke is no fun for anybody. But yeah. So, I mean, we're still so far under EV here, guys. Jesus Christ. 60,000 chips or something under EV. All right. I'm signing off for today, guys. I'm not sure when my next stream will be. I'm gonna say I might do a short one tomorrow, but the chances are probably not. I'm actually preparing to go to a wedding this weekend, so if I do, it'll be random and off the cuff, and you guys will hear about it on social media. Speaking of social media, give me a follow at any one of these links. !Nick in the chat will give you the links again if you're watching this back. Twitter, Instagram, Discord, my website, and my YouTube as well. And yeah, we just got to keep plugging, guys. This year has been very, very tough so far. We got off to an absolute flyer. We really were running hot. We were playing well. We were winning EV. At the moment, though, I can't help but feel like the EV situation would be significantly better if we could just get to Showdown with the best hand more than like 3 times a stream. Because this flatlining is very, very weird. It's so strange to be losing that much at Showdown. It's not, this isn't reality. This is just variance. So, I'm going to sign off for now, guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend if I don't see you. If I don't see you this weekend or tomorrow, I will see you guys next week, of course. The grind continues. And I hope you guys will come and join me for that too. Because, you know, who doesn't want to watch a grown man cry? Am I right? I love you guys. Enjoy.